You are listening to episode 229 of the Peaceful Mind Podcast. Welcome to the Peaceful Mind Podcast, a place for creating the peace of mind you need to be the best mom you are created by God to be. If you want to bring more balance, more joy, and more peace to your motherhood, this is the place for you. I'm your host, certified life coach and Catholic mom, Danielle Tino. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, let's get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so pleased you're here, especially knowing that if you are listening to this when it comes out, and the weeks after, this is right in the middle of summer. And so I know that summer is a different time for all of us where we are having different type of schedule and routines than we do during the, quote, normal school business, type focus when we're working. It's just different, right? Everything sort of takes on a different tone. And so if you are listening to the podcast on the regular, I appreciate you squeezing this in to your summer routine. And I want to let you know that when I'm recording this, it's actually right now about 6 weeks ahead of when it will go out, because I am about to take a 2-week break. I do this around twice a year, once in the summer to check out, to rejuvenate myself, to take my mind off of what I do on a regular basis, because just like I teach you, it is so good to rest and renew. And I do this also usually around Christmas time. And I know this year I'm going to be having just like an extra bonus time a week away, because I will be celebrating a milestone birthday. So I'm looking forward to all of that. And I'm looking forward to my upcoming trip, which happens to entail a stop in Rome, Italy. And so right now I do have tickets to a papal audience. So I'm very excited, God willing, that happens. And just if you do share the same faith that I do, the Catholic faith, we know that this is a wonderful place to have a pilgrimage and to connect when we are at Vatican City. And I'm sure that I will have some things to bring back on the podcast to share, but it will be in later times, since right now I am working on having podcasts up and ready ahead of time. We call it batching. So I'm, covered while I'm away and things like that, but I'm sure that I will have some kind of podcast or something to share with you about that trip, on what I learned or how I brought in the coaching tools to be able to help me. And I'm looking forward to sharing that with you, but I'm also not wanting to rush to get there. I'm looking forward to enjoying the vacation and the adventure that is, ahead of me. And just as a reminder, if you're not already following me on Instagram or Facebook, know that my handle is at Danielle Tino Coaching, and go ahead and follow so that you will maybe be able to see some pictures and posts or stories that I have of my time in Rome. Okay, so now I want to go ahead and dive into this week's episode, because I think I stopped and was like, I again and again and again see the blessings of what coaching with a coach has brought to my life, the difference that it's made. And I have talked before here about how I can see in my mind a definitive line in my life that I call before coaching Danielle and after coaching Danielle, or for short, BC and before coaching, and then AC after coaching Danielle. And I wanted to just talk to you about how, like, the specifics, like how coaching changed my life, the real results that I have created and have out of me being intentional about focusing my mind and getting the help and support continually from coaches and coaching programs and things to be able to keep me on track to have all of these wonderful results that after coaching version of me has. And then as I was kind of writing it down and making my notes and really asking my brain to go to find like ways that has really impacted myself, I'm also realizing I could totally do an episode called How Coaching Changed My Client's Life, Real Results That You Can Achieve Too. So that's an idea I'm going to put in the back pocket, because the examples I'm going to give you are, I hope you relate to them, but there are so many more different scenarios that my clients have come and experienced. And even if they weren't things that I struggled with or don't go through, it doesn't matter, because I can still help them, because it's the basic strategies, principles, and of course, mind and emotional work that is necessary to have any change that you want in your life. So I want to talk about, I've kind of come up with like 10 tangible ways, right, that my life has transformed before and after. And I'm just going to generically talk to you about that. And then I took time to really deep dive and get some specific ways. And I'll talk to you about that after. So let's start with kind of the scenario around time management. So before coaching, I was constantly feeling overwhelmed and behind in my schedule, and I was struggling to balance my responsibilities. But after coaching, that after version of me, I implement and follow through on really effective time management strategies. I've created a balanced schedule for myself that accommodates both my personal and professional commitments. Before, around time management, I would frequently either miss deadlines or I would push them out again and again. And I would kind of forget what my goals were with time management. I wouldn't have this kind of really running focused way of what it actually truly mattered to me with with my time. But after, I now consistently meet my deadlines. I know what my time, what it is that I've chosen on purpose to use with my time, and I do maintain a well-organized calendar. In my emotional life, before coaching, I frequently experienced high levels of stress. There was anxiety, and I would just call it emotional turmoil, right? But after coaching, I know about my emotions, how they're created, what they are, how they show up in my body. And I now know how to not avoid, react, or resist these emotions, but how they actually are the driving factor. And so with this knowledge, I can call on how to maintain a calmer and more balanced emotional state, especially when something unexpected comes into my life. So before coaching, I would totally react emotionally to minor issues. And it would definitely lead to arguments and tension in my families, in my home life. But now this innate ability to stay calm and composed and address the issues with more clarity and patience is for sure a direct result of applying coaching strategies, coaching tools, coaching techniques, and the consistent coaching that I get from the help of an outside person who supports and guides me to stay more stable in my emotional life. So in my motherhood, before coaching, I definitely felt inadequate. I was questioning my parent decisions. I was questioning myself, right? I was questioning if I was doing the right thing. I struggled with patience for sure. And I definitely didn't have that connection with my children that I do now. There was that struggle to stay present. I just felt like the nag all the time. But after After coaching, I am for sure confident in my parenting abilities. I definitely have created meaningful connections with my kids, especially as they are older now, more independent. And I'm more patient with them, with myself, just in life in general. So I'll talk more to this about it, but that definitely showed up where I yelled at the children more, at my kids. I definitely felt guilty afterwards, and I felt guilty for a long time. And now I handle things with constructive answers, we have constructive conversations, and just overall, this is going to be a theme, just with an overall more calm, confident manner when things that used to have me yell, like now it's just handled in such a more effective, constructive way. So my self-care, before coaching, I neglected it. For sure, it was not a priority. For sure, I was putting others ahead of myself and ahead of my spiritual life, ahead of God. And it definitely led me to burnout and being just perpetually exhausted. But after coaching, I prioritize self-care and self-care routines like my life depends on it. And this has resulted in a better physical and mental health for myself, and really better everything, if I'm just being honest. So I rarely took time for relaxation or for the things that were important or truly mattered to me, or things I just wanted to do. And now, after being coached and coming to coaching, I regularly, daily engage in activities that recharge and rejuvenate me. I make this an absolute priority. On the financial side, before coaching, I felt a little disorganized about my finances, and I definitely struggled with debt. So you might feel anxious about finances. You may feel like scarcity and be like lack all the time, or maybe you don't feel like you budget effectively. But after coaching, you have this new organization about how things work and what finances truly are and what you have control over and what you don't. And after coaching, you become someone who it totally highlights what actually creates money and what repels it. And so if you are stressing over bills and expenses and don't have a clear plan, which that was me, and again, mostly stressing over debt, then after coaching, you will become someone who feels more financially secure, that you're somebody, and this is me, that I know the difference between actual money and the, what feels, what was I going to say here? When you know what actually the money is, and then you know what the drama is about the money, and you know how to handle when you separate and take that drama and actually have that awareness so that you can then adjust it to a place that's going to put you where you are growing in more prosperity. And that is where I am now. My prosperity grows and grows and grows because of the work and the coaching that I have received and put in around finances. And just as a side note, just a little to let you know that soon, because I am right now creating a course that's called Faith-Focused Finances that is going to address exactly what changes I've implemented to go from that before person who was just always worried and felt lack and just was trying a whole bunch of things, but was not getting and seeing my finances grow like I want. And so I'm really excited to be able to help you grow and prosper when it comes to your wealth and financial situations. So definitely be looking for that course to be available to you soon. My personal growth. Before coaching, I felt stuck. I was unsure of how to get out of of the stress and overwhelm, like of how to actually make progress and reach the finish line and achieve my goals. So I used to say things to myself like, you are smart, Danielle. Like, you have a college degree, you had really great time management skills and things before kids. What's going on? What's wrong with you? Right? I was just unsure of how to get out of that stuckness. Right? So, but after I know what was keeping me stuck. And if I find myself there now, I know what to call on. I know what to change to actually get not only setting my goals, but actually making progress, taking action on them and achieving them. Right. And this involves a continuously like learning and failing. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. But avoiding new challenges due to my fears is how I was before. And after, I embrace opportunities to grow and I invest highly in my own personal growth because I know that that is what ultimately gets me to all the things that we want as moms, where we want to feel purposeful and we want to have a happy home life. And I have now realized, before coaching, I didn't realize it. And after coaching, I realized that myself and my own personal growth is key to having that take place. So my relationships, before in my relationships, I struggled with communicating in a way that was effective in getting like what I want. There was some conflict there, and it had to do with feeling like I wasn't maybe heard or seen like I want, or I wasn't getting from the other what I thought that they should be giving me. But after, I know how to communicate like my needs and wants, and I know how to release and let go, having other people show up. I understand that relationships exist in the mind and that it's up to me to cultivate the relationship that I want without having any kind of, let's say, what we call the manual, right? Any kind of instructions of how other people should show up in that relationship. I now have what it takes, the knowledge to have a healthy, fulfilling relationship, which has to still do mostly with how I'm showing up and how I'm changing. And I take my eyes off the other person. And that is just so natural and easy for me now, but it wasn't in that before coaching version of myself. I would frequently like misunderstand my spouse, and there'd just be unresolved things. But after, there's a way more open, honest communication, and we're more to quickly resolve things because we understand what each person separately is thinking about situations, and we can address it without having to get one of us on the side, like to come along. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. I know that I'm speaking of this generically. I'm going to get more specific here in a minute, but I wanted to touch on my mindset. Before coaching, there was negative and self-criticism with, I guess, how I was showing up mostly. I tend to err on the side of positivity and optimism. So, but now after coaching, I realized that there was a lot more negative and self-critical thinking in my mind than I was aware of. And coaching helped me get aware of that. And that's the only way you can change things, is when you're aware of them. And my mindset, I really felt limited in my possibilities. After coaching, I now know that I can achieve anything I put my mind to. And especially if it's something that I really, really, really want, I no longer am afraid or look at myself as if that's not possible for me. So yes, I have a very positive and growth-oriented mindset now after coaching. It took some work and practice and dedication and investment, but I believe that there is nothing more important than believing in yourself and having a very high self-concept. Of course, as women of faith, this is all interacted in the highest of my self-concept has to do with being a child of God and knowing that God wants what, has placed desires in my heart. But it not only took knowing that about like the faith principles, but it actually took learning how to work with the wonderful brain that God created. There are things about our brain and the way our mind works that until you know and learn them, you could do all of the praying that you want. You could call on your faith as much as you want, and it still wouldn't get you to where you go if you don't understand how your brain works. So after coaching, that's something with my mindset. I doubly know. I don't doubt my abilities as much or fear taking risks. And I believe in my potential. And I do take bold steps forward towards my goal. And that is the after, for sure, after coaching. I've touched on this many times. So if you've listened through all the podcasts, you'll know that I was a perfectionist and now I am a recovered perfectionist. So that is definitely a before and after. Before, I would be constantly striving for unrealistic standards. It would lead me to having constant dissatisfaction and stress in my life. I thought that was a noble thing to try to have things perfect as if I was going to get an A+ on it. But now the after coaching version of me, I fully embrace imperfection. I focus on progress over perfection. I am now reaching as my highest ideal to be a B- grade, not an A. And because of this, I don't obsess over minor details anymore. I don't delay completing a task until they're perfect. I complete tasks efficiently. I accept this good enough standard. And that is the after results of coaching. Accepting what's good enough changes everything because then you move on and you have a pile of things that are done and results instead of being stuck where you were, where I was before, where we know perfection doesn't come until heaven. So it is a dead-end pursuit to just try to get something perfect. And that is why I didn't have a lot of results that I was happy with because I was stuck in that strive. All right. And the last one I just want to touch on is productivity. That before I did a lot of procrastinating. And this feeling of unproductivity made me feel bad and feel lazy. But after coaching, I implement productivity techniques and strategies that, yes, they come mostly from my brain. And they allow me to be consistent. I complete tasks efficiently and effectively. And look, even just doing this podcast, doing it ahead of time, knowing that I have a couple weeks that I'm going to be taking off and I want to be able to lessen my stress. I've already created a plan and I'm following through on that plan to keep me out of procrastination so that I can, show up for myself and for you all the way that I say that I'm going to. So those were like 10 areas, and there are many more that show you that there is a definite, tangible results of this, who you are now, maybe before you have committed to having a life coach or to join a life coaching program or to open yourself up to this possibility of a whole toolbox of strategies and tools that you don't even know exist yet. And like I had mentioned, I wanted to just talk about a few of these specifics that have to do with my own life. I want to start out by saying the example of prayer and prayer time. in how before coaching, I really felt like that was kind of secondary or maybe third or fourth, right? I put all of the tasks for my family and my job and everything before this one thing that is now in my after coaching. Now I'm someone who makes regular silent time, prayer time, reading of the Gospels, devotional time is a priority. And that before and after, it took me changing my mindset and reprioritizing this. And the difference is, it's immeasurable. I could talk a whole podcast on what this one change, whereas before I just felt like it was something that I wanted to do, but I guess I was closed off to thinking that that was even something that would be a difference maker. So that's a real tangible result of my before and after. Before, I was somebody who didn't prioritize my prayer life, and now I do in a daily routine way. I for sure blamed others. I blamed others for why I was stressed and overwhelmed. I've talked about how I was renovating the house, and I blamed all the contractors for not, following the schedule and moving along. And then the after coaching, and I have after coaching have done a renovation, and it was a whole different experience because I then took responsibility for my own actions, and again added that B minus, kind of like let go of the perfectionism, and really knew that how I chose to think and feel about the whole renovation situation was going to create how I experienced it. And so definitely after coaching, I no longer blame others for my stress. I know that it is what I'm choosing to think about everything that's going on that creates it. Like I mentioned before, I was striving to make everything perfect. And now I regularly call on the B minus, and I'm no longer stuck. I create lots of things. Tangibly, before coaching, I would say that I was a mom that yelled a lot. And now afterwards, I yell way less. Is it zero? No, I'm human. But before, I would then feel so much guilt about it, like guilt that would last a week. And a tangible result of after coaching is that I know then afterwards, I come in with self-compassion and self-love, knowing that I'm human, that it happens that time. And then I evaluate why it happened. What was I stressed about? Because I know that that's what leads you, right? If you're not feeling good, it's going to drive you to do that. And I'm just feeling good way more of the time because in my after coaching version. Before coaching, I would question, I didn't know my purpose. Like I knew for a while, it would change and I would be like, oh, my purpose is this job, or my purpose is my kids right now. And a lot of times that felt good, but it would always creep in where I would question and doubt my purpose. And now after coaching, I know that I'm the one that creates that purpose. I'm the one that knows that I decide what that is in whatever stage of motherhood that I am in, or whatever work I'm doing. I see my purpose as not a treasure to go find out and seek, but something that I cultivate within. And I can remind myself each day what my purpose is. Or I could say like, okay, what my purpose is here for the summer, what my purpose is while my kids are away at school, what my purpose is for my coaching practice. Notice how there's not just this one magic, which I thought purpose to live out that I was created for. And I love this after version of myself who always knows that it's just something I stop and evaluate and choose. And then, of course, ask for God's help to see the clarity of what it is right now. I can't just mention time management so little at the beginning and not let you know that this is what most of us feel, that if we had the answer to, things would change. And I want to be in agreement to that. The answer that I didn't have before is that I thought that I was at the effective time. I didn't know that I'm the one who creates it and how I feel within the amount of time we have. I think that looking at time divinely as God being the creator of it, and I've created a whole course called Divine Time around this notion that we don't have to be at the effective time, but it's our relationship with time and how we view it. And I think viewing it from a heavenly perspective is what we need to increase our relationship, to understand what are truly circumstances, what we don't have control over within our time, and what we do. So my before and after in this subject of time is, it's like night and day. It's so different. Before coaching, I would nag, I guess. I would nag myself. I would nag at the children. I would nag at my husband. I actually think I can't even really think of the last time that I would do what we define as being naggy. Okay. I just see things so differently. I see the requests that I make, that it's up to me to withhold or to uphold boundaries. I know how to set boundaries. I know what true boundaries are. I know how to follow through on them. And so then that just eliminates this need for nagging. That is a tangible before and after coaching difference. I would avoid hard things. If it was something that was going to be uncomfortable, painful, if it was going to take a lot of work, if it was going to put me in a position to be vulnerable, if it was going to put me in a position to be criticized, I would avoid it like a plague. The after version of me knows now that negative emotions are just a vibration in my body. It's just a feeling. And that I can handle feelings. I now know after coaching how to actually process through negative feelings and feel them so that they pass through more quickly. I now allow them to be there. I allow them to be there in my body. And in my coaching program and working with a coach, I have focused on this process and learned this process so that now I don't want to keep myself and my life small and away from doing things that my heart is desiring because of just avoiding negative emotion. So because of coaching, I now have a knowledge of what feelings actually are and how to process them and how to face them head on. And so because I know that on the other side of them is really results that I want. I wasn't conscious before about being able to when situations arise that I didn't expect it, that there was a way to still remain calm and in control when plans changed, when you received something unexpectedly or something you would deem as really not great. Like you got a bill in the mail that you didn't know about, or there was a death that happened in the family that was unexpected. I just didn't have a consciousness that I could in those moments not spiral off or have this reaction. I now have the main tool that I teach in my coaching program called the self-coaching model. And when you learn the 5 categories of it, and it just helps you be able to be the boss of your life, to take control of it, to be intentional, and not be at the effect of it when unexpected things happen. It clarifies and simplifies what you can do next. And that is a control that I have now that I didn't have before coaching, that I can just deem as absolutely priceless. Let's see. I wanted to talk about how I used to think before coaching that failing and failure was bad. That's how I labeled it. Now, after coaching, I see that failure leads to learning, and learning leads to wins and successes. So now I actually strive to fail, because when we fail, we learn. And so I used to think that it's either going to be a good result or it's going to be a bad result. But now I know that even failure that I would have labeled as a bad result gives me a win, because I'm learning. So it's actually a win-win, whether you're success or fail. There's just so much goodness and nuggets to learn and add up to great successes when you're out there taking lots of action, and it's messy action. And when you find out what you don't know or what you don't like and what doesn't work for you, you're so much closer to knowing what will work for you. And so I love that. I love that before coaching, I repelled failing. And after coaching, I'm somebody who welcomes failure. I was in a rush all the time. I personally was go, 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 do, next. And it was like, because my before version of myself said, I need to hurry up so I can get to the place where I can like relax and enjoy myself and feel all those good feelings when I've accomplished it. But after coaching, Danielle knows, and I think that I've got the next episode of the podcast is going to touch on this, but we think that it's in the arrival, in the having of the thing that we want. Like if we were rushing around so that we could, I don't know, get the house cleaned up, get the groceries done, so we have the meals, get everybody to their activities, so then we can like relax and enjoy our life. But what happens, right? It's at the end of the day and we're totally exhausted and we didn't even stop to like be present or find some joy. So before coaching, Danielle rushed all the time, and after coaching, version of me knows that it's a myth, and that really it's slowing down, being more intentional, and deciding while you're in the midst of all of those things, getting the kids to practice, getting the meals made, right? Cleaning up the house or whatever. It's finding out how to make that more enjoyable and less stress and more fun while you're doing it is what actually is what is the way. It's not, there's not this once I get there, then I'll be happy kind of thing. So I just want to overall, I'm more slow in my life than that rushing version of me, which was before coaching. I have two more. One I want to talk about is that I was stuck a lot and confused a lot before coaching. I would find myself spinning on something or taking a super long time to make a decision. I would frequently believe that I didn't know something. And so it would, again, that's what leads you to being stuck. And now, after coaching, when I have learned, first of all, about what is actually creating my confusion and what that belief system that's running over and over and over again in my mind, which is that I don't know how, and then you fill in the blank after that. The after coaching version of me no longer allows that phrase, I don't know. Or when I'm making the decision, I put a deadline on it. I try to make it as quick and as decisive as possible because I know that that will have me moving forward and taking action. So I definitely have this strong belief now after coaching that I can figure it out. And then also I say, I have a really good guess of what might be the answer, and I use that to drive me into action. And then without a doubt, the after version of coaching, I know that my own inner wisdom has the answer more than me going to ask all of my friends and then what they think. And I, of course, this inner wisdom does include calling on my faith first, to asking God to help me with this decision. And then I know when I've asked him, he will, but I still have to go and pick and try out some things and learn for myself. And so I'm less confused in the after coaching version of myself, a lot less confused, and I'm more of an action taker and a strong decision maker. And the last thing that I'm going to bring up is that I did believe that I was missing something before coaching. I thought that maybe there was something wrong or broken about me. I questioned my worth. I felt like I just wasn't made that way. And then this had me these thoughts came up when I looked at some other people's lives and what they were achieving and how they were handling things, or so I was perceiving that they were, right? Because now I know that we are all have challenges. We are all struggling. We all have our weaknesses. We all have our strengths, and we're all living this human experience. But the after coaching version of myself, and this is the number one thing I want to leave you all with today, that this in itself is so absolutely worth investing yourself and having somebody help you with these before and after transformations if you so desire it. And that is that there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing broken that needs to be fixed, and that you're 100% worthy. There are just ways that your human brain works that you just don't know yet. And then that is what coaching gave me, that knowledge. And then that practice to be able to call on the things that serve me more often. And you are 100% worthy because you exist, because you are a child of God, and that there's nothing that you have to prove. But those things and desires that you have in your heart that you want, that you don't have now, there's only a gap in our knowledge and a practice on getting into action, on putting that into practice. So for instance, like I might have just thought like, I don't have what it takes to write a book or to help thousands of people, right? Who am I to do that kind of thing? And now I know that each and every one of us, should we desire it, have the capability to go after that. But we have to understand how our human brain and our emotional system and everything, how it's connected and works in the first place. And that is what coaching gave me. And then now, as you can see, I have authored a book. I have grown a coaching practice. I have cultivated really strong relationships with my children and my spouse. I do run a well-organized home. I do regularly fit in things that are important to me, like my prayer time and working out, and my satisfaction in all areas of life, productivity, time management, relationships, my emotional well-being. It has all increased 1,000-fold. And I do owe it to all of the things that coaching and having a coach have given me. And I want this all so much for you. And I have also seen it not only work for me in the examples I've given you today, but I've seen it all in my clients. And again, that might be a podcast for another time. But I hope that this episode gave you some kind of interesting ways to look at your life and to see if you find yourself in some of those before places, and if you desire to be on the after side and you just, you don't know how, or you have some kind of, trepidation about what it would take to get there, then I would love to talk to you about it. Then definitely hop on a call with me and we can talk about what it would be like, the journey to becoming the after that you might have heard about today if you find yourself on that before side. Okay, that's what I have for you this week. I will talk to you again soon. And until then, peace be with you always. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Peaceful Mind Podcast. If you found value in today's episode, I'd be so grateful if you could subscribe and leave a review. It not only supports the podcast, but ensures you don't miss out on future episodes packed with insights and tools to create peace of mind in your busy mom life. And if you're of the Catholic faith like me or any Christian mom seeking to feel better in any area of your life and to show up more calm, connected, and confident, I can help. Become an empowered mom who knows how to bring about the changes you desire, no matter the circumstances. Whether you need one-on-one guidance to get there, prefer a group coaching program with like-minded women, or a self-study course, I've got you covered. Explore my private one-on-one packages, join my Busy to Balance group life coaching program, or delve into my signature course, Divine Time. To find out which path is right for you, let's meet and see what's the best fit. Schedule a free call with me at danielletenoul.com or send me a direct message on Facebook or Instagram at Danielle Tenoul Coaching. And also, don't forget to get your copy of my book, The Cyclone Mom Method: How to Call on Your God-Given Power to Remain Calm, in Control, and Confident as a Busy Mom. Dive into the digital and bonus audio version when you go to book.danielletenoul.com/new-book. You'll find all the details in the show notes too. Until next time, peace be with you always.